Music's always been very important in my films, and I've been lucky enough to work with lots of really very brilliant composers over the years, very different. I've tried to try different things, from conventional brilliant scores of John Williams to Andrew Lloyd Webber to many, many other kinds of music. On this film I experimented with my two sons, who happen to be musicians and who have helped me over the years doing temp scores and things. And in the last 4 or 5 films that I've done, it's not the right kind of film for them. I wanted an original and different score. I didn't want the conventional score. And so I needed to experiment. And so I did experiment, and the easiest way for me to experiment is with these very inexpensive composers. Having Alan as a father has always been a hindrance, actually, because people, you know, see him, and then you're someone who's way down here struggling to, you know, with everybody else. And a lot of people seem to think, oh, well, his dad can help him out, you know, and it's not as simple as that at all. I've done a lot of music, different kinds of music in all of my films, and I think that it's an area that I know something about, so I certainly wasn't going to mess it up just to give it to my sons. The brief was literally me seeing some of the film and just being inspired by the images. I wanted to have a Texan flavour. It was my idea to have the gospel-style singers, and I wanted it to be quite a dark song, and obviously my voice is quite a dark-sounding voice. The great thing is about Alexander and Jake is that Alex is rock and roll and Jake is classically trained. So I mean, in a funny kind of way, they are such opposites with regards to their musical backgrounds. The thriller part of the film required a contemporary-driven soundtrack. But obviously there are very, some important emotional moments which needed conventional orchestral pieces.
When I became involved, he said, write me some cues, here's the script. And so I spent the weekend writing 12 different cues. And it would be a process of keep refining it and refining it and refining it until it actually matched what they were actually cutting.
I've always experimented a lot with music as I've been editing, because it is an organic process. I mean, I've done conventional scores where we finished the actual film and then you hand it over to the composer, but mostly it's actually been an integral part of the actual editing process, particularly it was on this film.
So where do we begin?
Louder, softer, bigger, smaller. And it's very easy to understand what he wants, you know, her call up, I think that was, you know, a bit too heavy. You know, let's try this maybe with a couple of violins, a viola, and a cello maybe. So I'll send it back with a string quartet, and you know, he knew what he wanted.
When music works well with images, it's a very powerful way to communicate with people. As we worked on it, it was an organic process. They worked, as I cut a scene, we worked on it, all of us, 3 of us together, and I think that out of that was coming something quite original. And so, you know, I persuaded the studio that, you know, that nepotism rules, and because we have, I think, an incredibly original score, and I'm very proud of them. Long as a man's dead.